Ladies and gentlemen, here is a truth that many people avoid, but once you understand it, your life changes. Nobody cares as much about your life as you think they do. That might sound harsh, but it's actually incredibly freeing. Think about it. Most people spend their days worrying about their own problems, their own goals, their own fears. They are not sitting at home thinking about whether you failed, whether you tried something new, or whether you made a mistake. And that is powerful, because the moment you realize that the world is not constantly judging you, you gain the freedom to try, fail, learn, and grow. Too many people stay stuck because they are afraid of what others might say. They hesitate to start a business, learn a new skill, or follow a dream because they imagine critics watching them. But the truth is simple: while you are worrying about them, they are busy worrying about themselves. So instead of chasing approval, focus on your effort, focus on the work. Success rarely comes from talent alone. It comes from the small actions you repeat every day. Waking up early to learn something new, practicing when nobody is watching, continuing to improve even when progress feels slow. Hard work is not always glamorous. It is often quiet and unnoticed. But over time, those quiet efforts build real strength, real knowledge, and real confidence. Another important lesson is responsibility. When things go wrong, it is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck. But growth begins when you ask a different question. What can I do better next time? Taking responsibility gives you control. It shifts your focus from excuses to solutions. And when criticism appears, and it will, remember that criticism can be useful. Sometimes it teaches you something valuable. Other times, it simply reminds you that not everyone will understand your journey. Either way, it should not stop you. Instead, let it push you to improve. Remember that meaningful success takes time. Not weeks, not months, years. Patience and persistence are often the difference between people who dream and people who achieve. So if there is one message to remember today, it is this: stop worrying about the opinions that might never come. Stop waiting for someone else to believe in you. Work hard. Stay consistent. Focus on improving yourself every single day. Because at the end of the day, the person who cares the most about your future is the person you see in the mirror. Many people spend a huge amount of their time worrying about what others think about them. They hesitate before making decisions, sharing ideas, or trying something new because they are waiting for approval. They want someone to say, yes, this is a good idea, or you should do this. The problem is that when you depend on validation from others, you give away control of your own progress. Your confidence becomes dependent on the reactions of people around you, and that can slow down your growth. In reality, most people are not paying as much attention to your actions as you might think. They are focused on their own responsibilities, their own challenges, and their own goals. When you understand this, it becomes easier to stop worrying about whether everyone approves of your choices. Instead of constantly seeking reassurance, you can start trusting your own judgment and focusing on the work that actually moves you forward. Waiting for approval can create hesitation. Hesitation leads to missed opportunities. Sometimes people delay starting a project, learning a skill, or pursuing an idea simply because they are afraid of criticism. But criticism is a normal part of progress. Every person who tries to build something meaningful will eventually face doubts from others. If you allow those doubts to control your actions, you may never begin. Confidence grows through action, not through constant encouragement. When you take initiative and commit to learning, practicing, and improving, your belief in yourself becomes stronger. The more you rely on your own effort instead of external praise, the more independent and resilient you become. This independence allows you to keep moving forward, even when people around you are uncertain or skeptical. Another important part of letting go of validation is understanding that different people have different perspectives. Not everyone will understand your goals, your interests, or your ambitions. Some people may disagree with your decisions simply because they have different experiences or priorities. That does not necessarily mean your path is wrong. It simply means that success often requires the courage to follow your direction even when it is not universally supported. When you stop chasing approval, your energy shifts toward improvement. Instead of worrying about opinions, you start focusing on learning new skills, building better habits, and strengthening your discipline. Your attention moves away from outside voices and toward your own development. This shift allows you to invest more time in productive actions rather than unnecessary doubts. Taking full responsibility for your life is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make. It means recognizing that your progress, your achievements, and even many of your failures are connected to the choices you make and the actions you take. While circumstances and external factors can influence situations, your response to those situations often determines the direction of your life. Many people develop the habit of blaming others when things do not go as planned. They blame the economy, their environment, their teachers, their bosses, or their lack of opportunities. Although some challenges are real and difficult, constantly focusing on blame creates a mindset where improvement becomes difficult. When energy is spent on pointing fingers, there is little room left for learning or growth. Taking responsibility shifts your mindset from excuses to solutions. Instead of asking, "Who caused this problem?" you begin asking, "What can I do to improve this situation?" This question immediately puts you in a position of control. Even small changes in your habits, your preparation, or your attitude can begin to move things in a better direction. Responsibility also encourages honesty with yourself. It requires you to evaluate your actions and recognize where you may have made mistakes. This process is not always comfortable, but it is extremely valuable. When you are willing to admit that something could have been done better, you open the door to learning. Every mistake becomes a lesson rather than a permanent setback. People who take responsibility also tend to develop stronger discipline. They understand that progress is closely connected to consistent effort. Instead of waiting for ideal conditions or perfect opportunities, they focus on improving what is within their control. This might include managing time more effectively, developing new skills, or working harder on tasks that require patience and persistence. Another important aspect of responsibility is accountability. When you accept that your actions have consequences, you become more thoughtful about the decisions you make. You begin to consider how your daily habits influence your long-term goals. Small actions such as how you spend your time, how seriously you approach your work, and how committed you are to learning can gradually shape the outcomes you experience. Taking responsibility does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending that obstacles do not exist. It means recognizing that even in difficult circumstances, there are often choices available. Those choices might involve adapting your strategy, seeking knowledge, asking for guidance, or improving your skills so that you are better prepared for future opportunities. Criticism is something that everyone experiences at some point in life. Whenever you attempt to do something meaningful, express a new idea, or pursue an ambitious goal, there will always be people who question your decisions. Some may doubt your abilities, others may disagree with your approach, and a few may simply criticize because it is easier to point out flaws than to create something themselves. Instead of viewing criticism as something purely negative, it can be transformed into a powerful source of motivation and improvement. One of the most important skills a person can develop is the ability to separate useful feedback from unnecessary negativity. Not every critical comment deserves attention, but some of them can provide valuable insights. Constructive criticism often highlights areas where improvement is possible. When someone points out a weakness in your strategy, your preparation, or your performance, it creates an opportunity to reflect and refine your approach. Learning to listen carefully to thoughtful feedback can strengthen your abilities over time. For example, a teacher's advice, a mentor's observation, or a colleague's suggestion might reveal something that you had not previously noticed. By considering these perspectives, you gain a clearer understanding of how to grow and improve your work. At the same time, it is important to recognize that not all criticism is constructive. Some comments may come from people who do not fully understand your goals or your efforts. Others may be influenced by jealousy, misunderstanding, or personal bias. If every negative opinion affects your confidence, it becomes difficult to maintain progress. Developing resilience helps you stay focused on what truly matters. Using criticism as fuel means allowing it to strengthen your determination rather than weaken it. When someone doubts your ability to succeed, it can become a reminder to work harder, prepare better, and sharpen your skills. Instead of feeling discouraged, you can channel that energy into productive effort. This mindset encourages continuous improvement. Every piece of feedback becomes a chance to learn something new, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to refine your approach. Over time, this habit builds confidence because you begin to see criticism not as an attack, but as part of the learning process. People who succeed in difficult fields often develop a strong tolerance for criticism. They understand that innovation, creativity, and ambition naturally attract opinions from many directions. Rather than avoiding feedback, they study it carefully, extract what is useful, and move forward with greater knowledge and determination. Focusing on self-improvement is one of the most productive ways to use your time and energy. Every person has the ability to grow, develop new abilities, and strengthen their knowledge, but this growth does not happen automatically. It requires conscious effort and a willingness to invest in your own development. When your attention is directed toward learning and improving, you begin to build a stronger foundation for future success. Many people spend a large portion of their time comparing themselves to others. They observe the achievements, lifestyles, or recognition that other individuals receive and begin to measure their own progress against those examples. While comparison may sometimes inspire motivation, it can also create unnecessary pressure and distraction. Instead of focusing on your own improvement, your attention becomes centered on external results that may not reflect the full story behind someone else's journey. Self-improvement encourages a different perspective. Rather than asking how you compare to someone else, you begin to ask how you can become better than you were yesterday. This shift in mindset transforms progress into a personal process rather than a competitive race. Small improvements in knowledge, discipline, and habits gradually lead to significant development over time. Learning new skills is a major part of this process. Skills increase your ability to contribute value in different situations. Whether it involves improving communication, gaining technical knowledge, strengthening problem-solving abilities, or developing creative thinking, each skill you build expands the opportunities available to you. The more capable you become, the more confident you feel when facing challenges. Reading, studying, practicing, and seeking guidance from experienced individuals are effective ways to support this growth. Knowledge gained from books, courses, or mentors can help you understand ideas more deeply and apply them more effectively. At the same time, practice is essential because skills improve through repetition and real-world application. Another important element of self-improvement is the development of strong habits. Daily routines shape long-term outcomes. Actions such as dedicating time to learning, maintaining discipline in your work, and staying committed to your goals gradually build momentum. Even small habits, when repeated consistently, can create noticeable progress. Focusing on improvement also encourages patience. Growth often occurs slowly, and meaningful development usually requires time and persistence. When you concentrate on becoming better each day, rather than expecting immediate results, you begin to appreciate the value of steady progress. Your attention remains on learning, adapting, and strengthening your abilities as you continue moving forward. Many people wait for motivation before they begin working toward their goals. They believe they need to feel inspired, excited, or energized in order to take action. While motivation can be helpful, it is often temporary and unpredictable. Some days you may feel enthusiastic and ready to work, while other days you may feel tired or distracted. If your progress depends only on motivation, your effort will likely become inconsistent. Consistency, on the other hand, creates steady progress. It means continuing to work even on days when motivation is low. Instead of relying on emotional excitement, consistent effort is guided by discipline and commitment. When you develop the habit of showing up regularly and completing your tasks, you begin to build momentum that gradually leads to meaningful results. Small actions performed every day may not seem significant at first, but over time they accumulate into substantial progress. A student who studies a little each day gradually develops a deeper understanding of the subject. An athlete who practices regularly improves strength, technique, and endurance. In the same way, anyone working toward personal or professional goals benefits from repeating productive actions consistently. Consistency also strengthens your ability to manage challenges. When you work on something regularly, you become more familiar with the process. Problems that once seemed confusing begin to feel manageable because you have encountered them before. This repeated exposure allows you to learn from mistakes and refine your approach over time. Discipline plays an important role in maintaining consistency. Discipline means choosing to complete your responsibilities even when it would be easier to delay them. It requires the ability to manage distractions, prioritize important tasks, and maintain focus on long-term objectives. Developing discipline may take time, but each moment of effort reinforces your ability to remain committed. Another benefit of consistency is that it builds trust in your own abilities. When you repeatedly follow through on your commitments, you begin to see yourself as someone who is reliable and determined. This internal confidence becomes a powerful motivator because you understand that your actions are capable of producing results. Motivation may start the journey, but consistent effort keeps it moving forward. By establishing routines, practicing regularly, and maintaining discipline in your work, you create a system that supports progress regardless of temporary changes in mood or energy. The steady repetition of meaningful actions gradually transforms effort into improvement and improvement into achievement. Adopting a long-term mindset is essential for achieving meaningful progress in any area of life. Many people begin new goals with excitement and high expectations, but they often underestimate the amount of time required to see significant results. When progress does not appear quickly, frustration can develop, and motivation may begin to fade. Understanding that growth and success often take years helps create a more realistic and sustainable approach to personal development. A long-term mindset encourages patience. Instead of expecting immediate rewards, you begin to focus on steady improvement and gradual learning. Every skill requires time to develop, and every meaningful achievement is usually the result of many small steps taken over a long period. When you accept this process, temporary challenges or slow progress become easier to handle. Patience also allows you to remain committed during difficult periods. Every journey includes moments when progress feels slow or when obstacles appear unexpectedly. Individuals who think only in the short term may become discouraged and abandon their goals during these moments. Those who think in the long term understand that setbacks are part of the process and that persistence can eventually lead to improvement. Another advantage of long-term thinking is that it encourages thoughtful decision-making. When you consider how your actions today will affect your future, you begin to prioritize choices that support lasting growth. This might include investing time in education, developing valuable skills, building strong relationships, and maintaining habits that contribute to continuous learning. Long-term thinking also shifts your focus away from quick rewards and toward meaningful progress. Instead of chasing immediate recognition or short-lived success, you begin to concentrate on building something that can grow steadily over time. This approach often leads to deeper knowledge, stronger abilities, and greater resilience. Persistence plays a critical role in this process. Achieving significant goals rarely happens without repeated effort and continued learning. Each attempt, whether successful or not, provides experience that contributes to future improvement. Over time, the lessons learned through persistence become valuable resources that guide better decisions and stronger strategies. When you adopt a long-term mindset, you begin to measure progress differently. Instead of asking whether success has arrived quickly, you begin to ask whether you are becoming more skilled, more disciplined, and more knowledgeable than you were before. This focus on gradual growth encourages continuous effort and helps maintain dedication to the journey of improvement. In the end, the message is simple but powerful. Most people spend too much time worrying about opinions, waiting for approval, or blaming circumstances instead of focusing on their own growth. The truth is that progress begins the moment you shift your attention inward. When you stop seeking validation, take responsibility for your actions, learn from criticism, invest in self-improvement, stay consistent, and think long-term, you begin to build a mindset that supports real success. Every meaningful achievement is built through effort that often goes unnoticed. Improvement happens quietly through daily habits, discipline, and persistence. Some days will feel productive and motivating, while other days will feel slow and challenging. What matters most is the decision to continue moving forward regardless of those temporary feelings. The path of growth is rarely immediate or easy. It requires patience, resilience, and the willingness to learn from both success and failure. Each small step of effort adds to your experience, strengthens your abilities, and prepares you for greater opportunities in the future. Over time, the consistent work you invest in yourself becomes the foundation of your progress. When you understand that your development depends largely on your own choices and actions, you gain a powerful sense of control. Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, you begin to create opportunities through preparation, learning, and determination. Your focus shifts from outside noise to internal discipline. True progress comes from the commitment to improve every day, even when recognition is absent and results take time to appear. By directing your energy toward learning, practicing, and strengthening your mindset, you gradually shape a future that reflects your effort and persistence. The most important investment you can make is in your own growth, because the habits you build today and the work you commit to consistently will influence the direction of your life for years to come.